Phil LeBeau is in Arlington, Virginia, with Kelly Ortberg, first national TV interview since taking the job. Hey, Phil.
Carl, how are you today? Kelly, thank you for joining us. Carl set this up by talking about the huge loss for the third quarter. You've got a slew of problems to tackle. And I think a lot of people look at Boeing right now and they say, how long will it be until investors can say there's no more string of bad headlines that are going to come out, something that will make people say, here we go again with Boeing?
Well, I've said there's no silver bullet. This isn't going to be fixed in one fell swoop. We've got a lot of issues here that we're dealing with. The first thing we've got to do is stabilize the business, and obviously getting through the IAM strike is the first big step in doing that. But then we've also got to shore up our balance sheet so that we have a solid balance sheet to manage the realities of our business going forward. I think from a longer-term perspective, getting focused on executing on these development programs is critical for our company, and then underlying all that is culture change. And we're off doing that. We're reevaluating the values in the company, and we really need to embark on a culture change that is something more than just a poster on the wall. It's really going to guide how the company behaves day in, day out.
You're sitting on about $10 billion in liquidity right now at the end of the third quarter. You've got this machinist vote happening today. How critical is it to your bottom line that you get a deal locked in, if not today, but very quickly with the machinists, or else it forces you guys into some tougher choices?
Well, I think we've got a good liquidity plan, irrespective of the near-term outcome here. So I feel pretty confident in that. But the vote is important. It's more important in terms of our long-term getting back to building airplanes, delivering good airplanes. And so we've worked really hard to find that overlap where we've got a deal that the employees can feel good about and the company can be successful going forward. So I'm very hopeful for the vote. We'll hear later on tonight.
You've spent some time on the floor. You've talked with some of the machinists. Can you understand some of the venom that they have expressed towards Boeing for the way relations have gone over the last 20, 30, 40 years?
Yeah, there's a lot of history there, and I wasn't a part of a lot of that history, but there's clearly a lot of emotion associated with this. My focus is get everybody looking forward, get them back to work, improve that relationship. I met with the union leadership my first week on the job, and I said we've got to improve the relationship, and I'm committed to do that, and nothing's changed in that regard. So when they're back on the floor, I'll be back on the floor, helping improve that relationship.
You guys are in the process of cutting about 10% of your workforce, roughly 17,000 jobs. That'll happen over the next couple of months. If this strike lingers on, will there have to be even further job cuts?
Well, I think you should separate the job cuts from the work stoppage right now. The realities of our business is we're overstaffed for the forecast of our business going forward. So we need to right size and be efficient, and I think we need to continue to do that as we go forward. Obviously, the later that the strike ends, the more impact that will have in terms of how fast we're able to recover.
You've got the potential filing for $10 to $15 billion in a capital raise. You haven't made the decision on when you're going to do that. Is the ending of the strike, is that sort of the key thing? Once you get that in place, you have the certainty that you can say, okay, let's go forward. I guess what I'm asking for the investors, when should they expect you guys to make that decision?
I don't think it pivots on the timing of the strike. I think we've got a good plan to raise, and so we'll execute to that plan. You've seen that we started to do some things here to get prepared for that.